Wow, what's that? Vegeta or Reboot Gohan topped again? Anyway, this video is a little different to what everyone else is posting right now, I think, because I wanted to find like 10 or 12 or so leaders that could slide their way into a top 16 meta list, because like there's like 8 or 10 different leaders right now with like Shenron, Gohan, Vegeta, Gogeta maybe, and Blue Baby, and whatever else the fuck there is. Because the meta seems pretty diverse for like the first time. I remember when it was all Storm. Hey gamers, let's find some cool leaders to fuck. Alright gamers, let's find some cool dudes to put in your leader spot and use the same deck list in the rest of the deck, because the only thing that needs to change is the leader. If everyone can go, wow, list please? So I spent the last however long going through every single leader from top to bottom, seeing which ones could actually slide into the meta. This was a lot harder than you thought, because every leader from like the first 4 sets is pretty much redundant now. Especially with the reboots coming through as well. The first leader from top to bottom that I actually found that might be usable is Lord Slug, believe it or not, with some Slug cards coming out in draft box, whatever the fuck it is, Giant Force. And the fact that so many decks right now rely on big hand sizes and stalling, like Shenron and Blue Baby, even Zamasu a little bit, pretty much any blue deck. The fact that Slug either gains critical or makes you drop a card on either side is actually really good, paired with cards like Ribrian, where you don't actually have to do anything to get your opponent to discard, like play any cards to get counterplayed or anything. You just yeet it from your drop, or you just drop a card from hand and they have to drop a card as well. It's really good, I think, in this sort of meta where big hands win, but if you can go second and sort of snipe their hand size down early on, I think he could actually sort of slide in, especially with green being everything it is now, good with good cards such as Dormant Potential and Ribrian. The next leader I actually found in the list I thought might be good is Demigra, because of the plethora of good Overrealm and black cards that have come out right now. Bandai has their hard on for green and black right now. Demigra's front side is pretty average with his you yeet 3 and draw 1, but I think he sort of is really good because he untaps 2 and also has Wormhole, which I know has existed for like fucking ever, but Wormhole is actually so good right now when you have good like 6-drop Super Saiyan 3 Goku Overrealm double strike criticals, but also good cards like Bardock, which is just Overrealm 4, draw 2, pitch 1, and you could pitch Beerus and blah 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 blah. So I think he actually has a spot for sliding in with mostly mono black-ish decks, and the fact that he untaps 2 on Awaken as well instead of draw 2 is pretty much like the best thing ever, because so many decks right now are having trouble staying relevant because of energy manipulation. I think that helps him a lot. The next leader along the list is Son Goku and Vegeta / Gogeta Blue from Destroyer Kings. I think he's really good because you draw a huge hand size. I mean, he was kind of meta when he first came out, but I think he's good because he can get a huge hand size early on. And when he awakens, he draws one and he untaps one, which I think is really good for red decks right now because they just kind of eat shit right now, to be honest with you. And then his Activate Battle, where you can pitch a red card. If you have 2 Goku and 2 Vegeta, your opponent can't activate counter skills with 2 or more, and you get 5k in double strike. I think it's huge, especially against blue, against baby. That is insane. And then Sin Shenron as well, because then they can't use their Ice Shenron negate. Obviously it still has trouble against green. There's not a hell of a lot you can do against Dormant Potential, which kind of sucks right now, but it is what it is. I think he has a potential to slip in, but red kind of is having a hard time right now. Now, I always played Cooler. I think he's really fun, but I think Mill might have its spot in the meta soon, especially with lots of decks being so dependent on a single archetype, like Shadow Dragons only play Shadow Dragons, Red Broly plays only Red Broly, Black Broly, well, not Black Broly, he plays from the drop actually. I think he could slide into a spot because they have the big hitters, but I think if you're playing dual color right now, I think it's in a bit of a hard spot though, because a lot of decks like Gohan, Vegeta, Agents, and even the Majin Vegeta deck right now can just beat you to death in the first 3 turns, and you have to spend a whole turn setting up energy exhaust or dual color energies, which is a huge disadvantage, especially if you don't hit your dual color energy. That is just like murdering dual color decks right now. Basically, if you're playing mono, you're winning. That was the worst laugh ever. I think he could slide in. I think mill decks have a chance to slide in if you can just remove, if you get lucky enough to remove pieces that your opponent needs, and especially on super draw heavy decks. You know, you might be able to mill them, but there's a lot of red leaders on this list, mainly because red is not topping right now a lot. I think Hit has potential. He's untap one and draw one on his Awaken, but he also gets 5k on his Unawakened side, which still hits leaders that Awaken on like turn 1 and 2, like Gohan and Zamasu and stuff like that. Especially because active main / battle is you can just kill a card with double strike, crit, or blocker. That's pretty good against some decks. Not a lot right now because dual attack and multiple attacks seem to be the way to go. I think he's alright though because he draws a fair bit. He untaps on an Awaken. He gets the 5k buff on either side. And he plays the skillless on your Awaken side. And he has the ability to kill things. I think that's pretty good. The only thing holding it back right now I think is the fact that it's red. And red is just eating shit right now. To be honest with you. And then there's this fuckwit. I hated versing original fucking Super Saiyan 3 Storm. I thought it was the most broken shit ever. But this one seems like he can actually do a good job. Obviously the main restriction is that he can be stuck at 6 energy, which is fine I think because he untaps 3 on your opponent's turn, and with a bunch of new counterplays and stuff he might even be better with like Baby for a big finisher or whatnot. But with the new cards, the newly meta cards like Bernie's not new, but Murichim, whatever the fuck, 4-drops that are good, that are quite costly, but if you have a leader like this that can untap straight away, I mean, its cost is effectively redundant then. Also cards like Janemba, the 4-drop from the Expert Box Anniversary Box thing, where he untaps 3 and draws 1, is really good with this leader because you can literally play that, play another 2-drop, and then on your opponent's turn you can play 5-drop Baby, which might be a play. Obviously one of the things holding him back right now is the fact that he takes his own life a lot, and that leaves him at the mercy of the super duper aggressive decks. But I think he could slide in. I haven't really seen a top tier deck list with this new version of SS3, even though he was quite hyped up. He might work. Yamcha is one of the 2 leaders I have on this list sort of looking forward at Giant Force. I think that he has potential with all the new burn cards. I think a lot of them are quite costly for what they are, but there is a couple good ones, especially with Miraculous Comeback Gohan and the Yamcha at 100% cards right now. I think he can slide in. Obviously, like the other decks, the biggest thing holding him back right now is the fact that he's red. But I do think at some point someone can slip in and win with him. I just think it has to be a really good player. Now, I know this is like a, wow, he only came out 2 sets ago. What? But he never really topped that much. He topped in the set 10 only format and probably in the 10 and 11 format only too. But with Giant Force coming out, I think he can actually play in regular, like expanded, because of the inclusion of the Giant Force Piccolo, because it is a 1-mana unison, which would help red so much because on turn 1 as Pilaf you play Shu, but if you whiff Shu you do nothing. But if you could play Piccolo, that'd be huge. And then obviously Piccolo has his negative markers ability, which plays cards from your deck that are 3 or less, I think, which is inclusive of the Pilaf chain. And you could also play a Bulma if you want to go into Yamcha or something like that. So I think next set he actually has a bit of a potential just because of the Giant Force Piccolo 1-cost unison. Maybe. Janemba I picked just because he is sort of expanding on the mill route of Cooler, because he doesn't necessarily have to attack leader or play off battle cards like Cooler does, because if you verse a deck that is not battle card dependent as Cooler, you just sort of lose because you sit there and do nothing. Or if your opponent has half a brain, they just don't go battle card heavy when you can hit them, because it's quite easy to just big brain your opponent if they're playing Cooler. Janemba doesn't really have that problem because he can just exist and make the mill if you swing at battle cards, or you just play the Janembas and they mill, such as the Destruction Rare. I think he has the chance to, especially with the new counterplay Baby as a big finisher as well, and the negate on the leader that's built in on his Awakened side. I think he has a chance to slip in. I know Janemba was the meta for so long, but it'd be kind of cool to see it come back, especially when every deck right now is just play this lineage of Broly, play this lineage of Dark Broly, play this lineage of Agents of Destruction, play this lineage of Dragon things and win the game. Like, these decks all sort of can't follow that notion other than Pilaf because they have to rely on just generically good cards and they don't have like an engine built in. But Janemba sort of does. I'm just rambling. And last but not least, I want to make Saiyan Delusion Hercule work. Obviously, his biggest drawback is that his fucking base power is abysmal. You can have an opponent's Barbary swing and inflict damage, which is obviously the biggest holding back factor. And his Awakened side, I think it's crap. I think if you were trying to win with Hercule, you would definitely use his Unawakened side, go hard with Double Strike Champers, Double Strike Kais, Critical Freezes, and the pseudo super combos and the new good super combos. I think he has a shot, especially with the new dormant. I keep saying new. I said ago. Dormant potential as well. I think you can just stall your opponent out for a turn because you do that. Maybe he can snag a win. I'm pretty sure it also depends on what deck Hercule is versing, because if you verse Blue Leader, for instance, you pretty much just lose straight away. But if you verse a deck that is very self-inflicting of damage, you have the chance to just hit them the few times because you will run out of dormant potentials. Like, there's only 4 of them in your deck if you can afford $200 to just go, poof, 4 negates, wow. I want to see him work, but God, his Awakened side is fucking abysmal. I mean, it's kind of like Gohan reboots, except his is active main and Gohan's battle. And Gohan can swing 3 times and Hercule can swing once. That's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to throw out some leaders that could sneak their way into the meta because it's so diverse right now, because, you know, people get so sick of seeing the same thing over and over. But it is diverse, but that's why I thought this could all maybe slip in and work for once. Yeah. Also, I'm a little offended that I'm not on the community videos tab in Shenron's lair. Like, I don't know what the fuck that's about, but I've made one whole video now. And I think I deserve to be on that. 200 views, that's compared to their thousands. I mean, I think I should be on the tab, right? Like, that would be good. I hate this fucking card. I want him to go away. I hate this card. I'm for the video. I hope you enjoy it. Show it to your friends. This tastes like shit. Honestly, I don't really care. I just want him. I couldn't find one of these decks. I was gonna eat both of them. Bye-bye. God, I would be the worst fucking homosexual because my gag reflex is like non-existent. I reckon that's still tournament legal. Yeah. Bye.